Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Thanksgiving is over, and the next thing's coming up is Christmas. Almost a month into college basketball, Luke Taylor back, Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. We're going to go a little one-on-one with this next guest. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you can, whether it's on YouTube, on the Full Court Network YouTube channel, or X, as we like to call it, Instagram. So one of my favorite conferences, okay, every year, and I kind of live in it. I'm kind of like put in the middle of it. There's so many good teams, so many good programs. So why not have one of them? So we got Coach Matt Mckillop from Davidson College. Welcome to the Full Court Press, Coach.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about our team, excited to talk about the A10. And like you mentioned, Christmas is coming up. It's December 1st, and it's hard to believe it is already December. So
I know.
I'm very excited to have the chance to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a little bit off air. You guys are 6-1. You guys are doing some great things. Key wins against Washington State, Charlotte, Bowling Green is a good program. Then you go and beat a team called Boston College, which is always great. I'm surprised they even wanted to play you, but here nor there. Lost to Utah State. You got some really key games coming up. Citadel, St. Mary's, in Kansas, Temple, Coach Fisher, Temple, former A10. You guys are doing really well, and it just seems like you're just kind of tipping, kind of scraping the top of the iceberg per se.
Yeah, really pleased with our start. And I, like you said, I think we're just scratching the surface. We've got a lot of newcomers, as everybody in college basketball has. And I kind of expected a few more growing pains early on, and I think we were ready. And our guys came out with great freedom and confidence, and were able to perform offensively, especially the way we want. And we're still not completely to full health. We've got four 5-man front court players, and we've not had all of them able to play, and even half of them are able to play in several of our games. So even coming off a good win against North Carolina A&TU, I think is going to have a really good year. Yep. In the CAA. We were missing our leading scorer, Hunter Adam, and our starting 5-man best defender, Sean Logan, and we were still able to get a 20-point lead that free throws maybe turn into a 30-point lead. So excited for us just starting to scratch the surface. We do have major room for improvement from an execution standpoint, from a defensive toughness standpoint, but we're doing some really good things.
Yeah. So, it's funny. The basketball season's kind of cut up in different parts, obviously. What are you looking for in November, then take it into December, then into conference? Like, what do you, I guess, I don't want to say what do you define as success, because that could be a 4-hour interview, let's be honest. You are a coach's son, so you know how this goes, right? But like obviously you're 6-1, right? Or 6-1 or 7-1? You're 6.
I think 6-1. I think you're
6-1.
Right.
You think? Well, you were there. I'm
pretty sure we're 6-1.
Yeah, there you go. But so it's December. What are you looking for these next couple months in November, December? Because let's be honest, a lot of these conferences, unfortunately, A10 last year was a 1-bid league. Year before it wasn't. Conference season is so it's kill or be killed, I guess. So what are you looking at in November, and then what are you looking at in December?
Well, I think it's different year to year. For this team, we've had games where we've played 12 guys. We've gone 12 deep, and guys have played 8+ minutes. Nobody's played more than 24 minutes. So we are still in the process of solidifying roles and solidifying our rotation, as we've had guys in and out, some with some injuries. So that is what we're trying to do daily, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing different guys step up game after game based on the matchup, based on the defense we're seeing, based on the offense we're seeing. So we're still working our way through that, but at the same time, that's a great challenge that we're probably going to have all year long, and it's going to hopefully be the equal opportunity offense where we've got 7 guys averaging 8 points or more, and we've got almost all of our rotation playing 8+ minutes and nobody more than 26 minutes. I mean, that shows that we can do a lot of different things. But really, like, we have all these new guys, and everything we're experiencing, it's the first time we're doing it together. And, you know, I could reference, you mentioned the Charleston Classic. We had a great win over Boston College. We did not have a great performance against Utah State, but even stepping onto like a neutral site practice court, it's the first time we've done that together. And guys coming from high school or guys coming from a different school, you know, they're not used to doing things the way that we like to do things. And our guys don't know that. So it took a practice. It took till the end of practice for us to see as coaches, how we can help our guys be ready for every little thing that we're doing together for the first time. So, you know, we have this stretch of days where we don't play until the Citadel. How can we approach this in a way that our guys know how we do that? Our players don't know what they don't know. And you're seeing that more, I think, across college basketball than ever, because a lot of programs are playing with so many new players. But ultimately, we want next practice to be the best practice of the year. We want to be better on Thursday against Citadel than we were against North Carolina A&T. And if we can just inches get better every single day, we're going to continue to move in the right direction. Yeah,
and you obviously want to peak in March, not in November.
That's right. Yeah, and I think being healthy certainly will allow you to do that. But I'm really excited, as I mentioned. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface of the team that we can be.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, you're obviously on the winning side of things, but if you really want to, how do I put this? If you really want to chuckle, go on Twitter X, and just hear if you get one win, like you had a rough loss against Utah State, and Utah State's a really good program. We've had Coach Calhoun on the show a couple times. We know him, does a really good job, but like that one loss is your season's over to some people on Twitter. Like, you need to be fired, coach. You're 6-1. You should be fired.
Well, thankfully, I don't spend much time on Twitter, but I whatever voices there may have been, believe me, I was feeling the exact same way about our performance. But again, that's the first time we're experiencing that. They went on a run at the end of the first half, and much of it was due to us turning the ball over and them not going up against the defense to make layups. And we did not respond with any type of defensive effort in the second half that represented the way we've been performing to date. Well, first time our team been punched in the mouth. First time we got punched in the face. Now we know how to handle that better. I thought we faced that this past week in practice leading up to A&T, and then we got punched in the face a little bit when we found out two of our most veteran players weren't able to suit up for that game. And I thought we responded pretty well. So we just have to respond better every single day.
Yeah. I want to go back to, you're talking about pretty much having a new team every year. And a lot of these, pretty much every program has a new team every year. You've got a really good non-conference schedule. And the A-10, I don't need to go. George Mason, St. Louis, yourselves, St. Bonaventure, Duquesne, and, second year with Coach Joyce there at Dayton. We can go on about the A-10. Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you put together this non-conference schedule, maybe not knowing the pieces of the puzzle?
It's really challenging because it's not knowing the pieces of our puzzle, but also not knowing what the map you're following to put together the puzzle pieces that you're looking at. We don't know who exactly we're playing against up until August, September, when rosters are being solidified from some of these opponents. So we have to be so mindful of what we're doing from a scheduling standpoint to get home games, get games that we're really confident that we could perform well in. But also we want to put ourselves in the best position possible to have quad one, quad two, net, Ken Palm, Torvik, all the metrics. We want to put ourselves in position to show that we're capable of performing at the highest level. That's going to enhance our team and our season. It's going to enhance the Atlantic 10. And we always have a blueprint for what we're looking to do with our schedule. It never shapes up that way, but we've been able to play some cross-country matchups. We played Nevada several years ago. We played San Francisco. We didn't perform well out there, but we came back and we beat them, and it was a great win for us my first year as head coach. Nevada, the same thing. We didn't perform well against Eric Musselman's team, but when they came back with Steve Alford's team a year or two later to Davidson, we performed really well, and it was a great win for us. So Washington State would be another example. We got to find quality games, and you just can't jump on the highway and have those options pop up as locally as you wish or as regionally as you wish. So we've had to be creative. We're going out to Kansas. We have the series that Temple is returning to our place. And then this St. Mary's game, we went out there. We got our tails kicked 2 years ago. It was the Friday of Thanksgiving. And we got punched in the mouth. And, I have yet to watch them on film. I've seen some of their outcomes, as everybody watching and following college basketball does. But I know they're going to be a bear of a matchup. But everything we're doing, there's thought that goes into it. But we were willing to schedule a little different when we got to July and August, because we felt like we had some really, really good pieces and talent that, if we put it together the right way, could have a chance to compete with anybody.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I don't know any coach, bar from maybe some Power 5 head coaches or Power 4 head coaches. I don't know any coach that had a schedule. It seems like by July or August before. I mean, your schedule would be done. I mean, you know this. I mean, your schedule would be done 2-3 years out. Now it's like 2 minutes out. It's like, oh yeah, you want to play? Sure, let's go.
And we have one more game we can still schedule, and we haven't stopped talking to people. And whether it's going to be a bye week, one of our conference bye weeks in January or February. Like,
wait, you might still schedule a game.
We've got one that we just couldn't find the date. Our exam schedules. I mean, Davidson's an incredibly high academic institution, and it's very demanding on our players. And the way our exams lay out, it's really tough to fit in games in the next 2 weeks, if you looked at our schedule. And we have an open game. We have a couple open dates. You never know what could happen. This happened 2 or 3 years ago as well, and we were able to find an opponent. Nothing else. It's an opportunity to step on the court. And
will you give me a finder's fee if I find you a good game?
That'd be great. Yes, we absolutely will.
It's funny. I will actually agree with you, because if you look at the transfers you've brought in, Army, Penn, Davidson's up, because I don't know any other coach.
Wake Forest. Yeah, we've got some.
I understand. But here's the thing. I don't know any other head coach would bring up exams in the NIL era of trying to schedule and stuff. So kudos to you.
Well, I'm a Davidson alum. I'm a very proud alum.
Here we go.
I'm still shocked that I was able to earn a degree, because most of the players on our team are much, much smarter than I am. But we take a lot of pride in how we do things here, institutionally, athletics wise, and basketball wise. And proud that we have guys that get things done in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if we assume some guy named Curry is the best shooter in Davidson history, we're going to assume he is. Okay. Who would be the second best shooter in Davidson history?
So I played with, coached, recruited a number of guys who I would love to mention all of them. We had a player named Youngjun Lee. He was Korean. He was on our championship 2022 Atlantic 10 championship team. I think he just made 9 threes in a FIBA event leading Korea over China, like last weekend. We have a guy on our coaching staff named Jack Gibbs, who was a 2,000-point scorer at Davidson. 3-time, I believe, all Atlantic 10 player. And he is on our scout team every single day. And I think our players that are all on our team right now would put him right behind Steph Curry, because they get to see him make shots on them all day. But he was an exceptional college player. Brendan Winters was my college roommate. His father, Brian Winters, was a longtime NBA player. Brendan, when we graduated, Brendan was the all-time leading three-point shooter in school history. And Steph Curry broke Brendan's record. And there are other players: Brian Sullivan, Tyler Kalinowski, Peyton Aldridge was a 4-man. We've had some very, very good shooters over the years.
Yeah. I've never asked this to a son whose father was a head coach and you played from. Was it just assume you were going to go to Davidson?
Depends on who you're talking to.
I'm talking to you.
Well, it's funny. No, I know that. I know. My prep school coach, John Stone at the Hunt School, he used to. Maybe I probably just wasn't good enough to get recruited, but we'd have coaches come in our gym and they'd be talking to all my teammates after practice. They never came and talked to me, and he would put his arm around me and be like, "Hey, they think you're all going to go play for your father, so they don't want to waste their time." It didn't make me feel good, and then I ended up doing exactly what they thought. I think it was somewhat of a safe assumption, but there was also the piece of, am I just going to go and be the coach's son? That I had to kind of grasp and embrace and decide if that was the right thing. And I was pretty lucky. I grew up across the street from this gym, and I spent every afternoon in here. Either I was working out or jumping in a workout with some of the players on the team. So the decision was made a lot more easily because of the relationships that I already had with the players on the team and how accepting they seemed to me as a high school kid. And thankfully that translated into them accepting me as their teammate when I stepped on the campus as a freshman.
Yeah. How tough it is? How tough is it to play for your dad? I mean, you obviously have a lot of colleagues and a lot of friends that played for their fathers too. I mean, you obviously, what comes prevalent is like the Hurley family. Now they didn't play for him in college, but in high school and stuff like that, it's all the same, right? I guess how tough was it, on a day-to-day basis? Was your dad really easy to separate dad and coach? Because I feel like there's some, like, he's smiling. I think we're getting somewhere. We're hard hitting here on the Full Court Network.
Yeah. It was, well, I think if you talk to anybody, and I would bet the Hurleys would say something similar. Like my dad was really tough to play for, no matter who you were. And that's why I think he got the most out of everybody who came through this program. And, we're underdogs every single year, but overachieved, and players who were under recruited or not recruited at all overachieved. And Steph Curry's the shining example of that. But, I just mentioned Brendan Winters, who was the leading three-point shooter in school history. I think he graduated high school without a scholarship offer, but he was a challenging coach to play for because he was so demanding. And it was challenging. And it was challenging for me because I think he wanted to be certain that he pushed me to a level that allowed him to push everybody else to that level. Yeah. I think I got a lot of credit from my teammates because of what I had to handle on a day-to-day basis. And they had some, they worried about me a little bit, but it turned me into a player that I never imagined I could ever become.
Yeah.
My brother also played for my father. And, I do have some funny memories of where that coach-parent separation just didn't exist.
Yeah.
But I think it allowed him to become a better coach. And it allowed him to be a better coach to maybe my brother. Not that he wasn't a great coach to me, because of, again, what I believed I wouldn't achieve, which I did. But then it made me really want to be back as a part of the program as an assistant coach. And I think it allowed me to be a really good assistant coach, which has hopefully put me in position to lead this program as a head coach.
Yeah. So obviously your dad was synonymous. He was on the bench for 33 years at Davidson. I mean, the Mckillop name is synonymous with Davidson. Do you see a lot of yourself in coaching, like where you see glimpses of like your father? Like, do you see glimpses of your dad in your kind of coaching style and maybe how you handle things?
More and more every day. I would say. Like I can't remember what I did or said in a film session the other day, but as I'm walking out, I said to Jack Gibbs on our staff, I was like, that probably sounded like my father right there. Whenever I'm like, okay, how do we handle this situation? It's easy for me to just reflect back on a time as a player or a time as an assistant coach where we dealt with something similar. We dealt with a player who was going through something similar, good, right, wrong, bad. I don't often have to reach out to him for advice because I recollect all those moments that I was a part of already. And I saw how well it was handled by an experienced coach like him who, overachieved in every season he performed as head coach. So I think now that I've got a few years under my belt and I had this is who I want to be as a coach. I figured out how to be that while also being true to what I was, how I was coached, which I think allowed me to overperform or overachieve. And I'm trying to help our players all do that as well.
Yeah. So the ever-changing landscape of college basketball, it seems like it's changing. Well, it just changed again. But it seems like it's changing every second. I mean, let's be honest. It's like this and that. You have a really interesting fund that was set up by two former student athletes. One, obviously, last name Curry, and Matt Berman. How important is that for a school like Davidson? No knock on Davidson. For a school like Davidson in a conference like the A-10, like how we've heard numbers all over the place of this and that and what have you. I mean, how does that kind of help you continue what you're trying to build?
It's crucial. It's crucial. It's so critical for the future of our program in this new landscape. And, there's, like you said, it's probably changing by the end of this conversation in another new way. Davidson, I've spoken about our academics, which obviously I'm very proud of and prideful of. But we're very, very unique in this entire landscape. We have 2,000 students at Davidson. We do not have graduate school at Davidson. It's a residential campus, and we do not have Power 5 football, Power 4 football, whatever we're calling it. So, revenue distribution, the revenue comes from basketball, but we really need our supporters to allow us to be able to do what other programs are doing and to remain competitive. And so grateful, obviously, of everything Stephen Curry does. I mean, Steph Curry, he's gonna do something today that shows up in a headline, and that is a home run for Davidson College every single day. How he carries himself every single day is a win for Davidson College. But him and the Berman family and Matt Berman, my very, very close friend, work together to put this fund in position to allow other supporters, fans, alums to help support us, but to help level the playing field and allow us to compete the way we want to be able to compete.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to keep you competitive because you need to do whatever you can. Whether you bring in players because of it or whether you retain players. The biggest thing we have conversation with, you can't buy culture. And I think there's that, how do you it's that slippery slope. I mean, you see it with other colleagues and what have you and other programs, but I think it's time to have a little bit of fun. Okay. We try to have fun on the Full Court Network. It's spelled FCN, not FUN, but just some easy questions. Sam's usually sets this up, but he's sleeping in because he's lazy in Fort Collins, Colorado. Shout out to the Colorado State Rams. He makes me say that, not really, but so I'm going to give you about 6 or 7 questions, just one word answers. If it's more than one word, have at it. But if I ask you, give me something, you might need 2 or 1,000 words. But here we go. Okay, one word to describe Davidson College.
Special.
Okay, and we know why, because they gave you a degree. I mean, you earned a degree. Sorry. Biggest misconception of A10 basketball. You can be more than one word, Coach.
Yeah, it's going to be tough with just one word. I mean, it's not even a sentence, I would say. It's when we get into conference play, everybody's starting to play at their best, and it is a grind. But so much of what takes place, which we need to do better in November and December, kind of puts us in position to not show on a national scale what we're capable of come March. It is a brutally tough league. There's so many great coaches, so many great players. I mean, how many players from the Atlantic 10 are playing, Battle for Atlantis or the Players Era? I mean, these guys are playing all over the place because they're great players. And hopefully we keep more of these great players, and hopefully we do here at Davidson, certainly. But the coaches are getting poached, the players are getting poached. And I think that's because of how great the competitiveness of this league is. And I wish that we had an opportunity in March to demonstrate, to show that.
Yeah. I think the problem is there's so much respect for A10 programs, whether you go, I mean, just for the history behind them, whether it's Davidson, whether it's Rhode Island, whether it's, LaSalle's coming up again with Coach Nichols, Dayton, Duquesne. I mean, the same, whatever. It just goes on. And what frustrates me, and I'm not trying to get a soundbite, but I feel like you guys have an exception. But if you look at a lot of the non-conference schedules of some of your conference foes, they're not getting opportunities to play Kansas, Boston College. So now you think, it's, their record so-and-so, and then they go into conference and it's like, well, they're not very good, or they're overrated because they haven't played anybody. So I think I agree with your misconception. Absolutely. So,
yeah.
I guess it is what it is. You just got to keep winning. But all right. So what team would you say leads the conference in most team fouls per game? So which officials, which coach do they like the least is what it comes down to.
Admittedly, I have not watched much A10 basketball this year. So I will say just the reputation of the program, but really the style of their defense. George Mason is a very, very physical team, and they are a very good defensive team. So I don't know where I don't mean this in they foul a lot, or they should be getting called for more fouls, but I think of a physical defensive team, and I think of George Mason.
You want to know who number 1 is?
Is Davidson?
No. You guys were 7th.
We're not defending as smart as we need to.
You were 7th with I think 18.4. I think it was Duquesne. They don't like Drew, my guy Drew Joyce, man. What's up, man? They don't like people from Akron.
I don't know. They're coming to our place.
I'm gonna have to text them. 22.3. Come on, Drew. Get it together. Richmond 2nd. Guess who is last in team fouls called in your conference right now?
St. Louis.
LaSalle, 14.2.
LaSalle. Yeah.
Darius.
There was no reason why I picked St. Louis. They were a good defensive team, so I assume they didn't foul much last year.
Yeah. Don't call Darius. He doesn't appreciate that. There's no you in Darius. All right. So give me your funniest recruiting story. Give me one that you'll always remember that you can say. I mean, this is very PG 26. So how about it? I know you got some.
Yeah, I the one that I remember, I mentioned this player earlier, Young-Jun Lee. He is from Seoul, Korea. He went to the NBA Academy in Australia, where so many great players have come. Several Manny Joes is on our team, and Hunter Adams spent some time there as well. Both two players on our team. But Josh Giddey was there. Malawat. Well, he was at the one in Senegal. But Tyrese Proctor, Duke player. I mean, they've had some exceptional players there. But Lee spoke English well, and his parents spoke no English. And so we had the parents and Lee here on a visit, and the parents had an app on their phone that was translating every bit of the conversation. And you'd hear them like, they never said many words, but they would laugh at all these jokes, or they would laugh at some stories, or they would acknowledge everything. And they would just be staring at their phone, and then they would look up and nod. They were staring at their phone, and then they look and they point and laugh. So that was really unique, I would say. I wish I had some great, like, crazy how this happened or that happened. It was really neat in the spring. I mean, I'm sure the coaches you speak to, they all say, I mean, it's so hard to get a kid to commit to any institution. I mean, it is.
Or at least stay committed.
Stay committed. But when they make that decision, I mean, it is massive. It is massive. And we had 3 players commit to us: JQ Roberts, Sam Brown, and Josh Scovins. JQ is a transfer from Vanderbilt. Josh is a transfer from West Point, and Sam Brown is a transfer from Penn. And they all committed to us in like a 24-hour span. Oh, and it was just like bang, bang, bang. Like, that doesn't happen, and it's never happened here for sure. So that was a great recruiting memory, and those guys are happy.
Yeah, that's impressive. It's like speed dating nowadays, right?
It's different. Yeah,
it is different. I don't know if your dad would appreciate it like you do.
We joke about how he would be managing through some of this stuff now.
All right. So, as Sam would say, Luke LT is going to get a little strange and weird. So, if you were a candle scent, what candle scent would you be?
I did not expect to ever really be asked that question. My wife's birthday is actually Halloween, and my son, my 3-year-old, just picks out a store, and he got her like a Fruit Loop bowl of cereal candle, and it was like a really fruity smelling candle. It was just that's the candle that's been burning in our house. So that's the one that I'm currently thinking of. That's not a good answer for what you're really trying to get to, but I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, okay. So you're a little bit fruity. That's okay. That's cool. No, that's fine. That's fine. All right, last question.
It was an enjoyable smell.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, Fruit Loops is a good smell. I won't fight you on that one. Especially,
and also like a very musky, foresty smell would be the next one. I'll have to.
Yeah.
Balance out my picks.
You're like, what the hell did I agree to? All right, last question. Song that best describes you. What would be your walkout song? This is like the inner reflection when coaches on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great. I should be prepared for something like that, because I often think about that. I am a big Yankees fan, and I was an insane Paul O'Neill fan. Paul O'Neill was my favorite player growing up, and he would walk up to Bob O'Reilly, and I thought that was like the greatest. So I would go with that. I have to take the aux in our gym when we do some shooting drills, and I'll put some music on, and I'll put in some 90s hip hop, whether it's Notorious B.I.G. or Tupac. Like our players have never heard that before, and I can't believe it. So maybe some of the music I've been throwing on in the gym to educate some of our players on some of what music used to sound like when it used to be.
Yes, 90s hip hop. I'm sorry you're a Yankees fan. I was pretty much, I was born in Montreal, but I was raised and still am a Toronto Blue Jays fan. Go Blue Jays.
Well, it was an exciting postseason for everybody.
It was
wild.
No, it wasn't. I hate the Dodgers.
Yeah, but some of those games were like so memorable.
Yeah, Yeah,
I'm usually not as locked in past the Yankees losing as I was, but that was a really fun.
It was fun. Series. It was good for baseball and stuff like that. I mean, I'm waiting for the season to be still being played. I mean, the way pro sports is going, it's like, let's just play all year round, right?
Yeah.
But well, Coach, last thing, we can give you the kind of the platform, minute or two, or how long you want to go. I guess tell the Davidson faithful how excited you are for this year. I mean, you guys are 6-1. You guys are playing really good ball. You got a kind of a tough part of the schedule the next couple of weeks. I mean, what can you say to boost the boosters and fans of Davidson?
Well, I think with the exception of the
Utah State game, and we had one run that just got the game got away from us, and then it never got back into our grasp. But we've had either and in Boston College we won by 12, but we've had a 18-point lead in every single game that we've played beyond the 12-point game against Boston College and then Utah State. So we're doing that without a roster that hopefully will be fully healthy soon. And with all these guys that are playing for the first time together and going through these experiences together, we started 2 freshmen against NCAA, and both of them showed how capable they are. I think that our depth will begin to wear some teams down in a different way than we've really allowed it to so far this year. We've kind of, faltered a little bit towards the end of some of these games, which we're going to start to become at our best. But our schedule is going to be challenging, and it's not going to get any easier when it comes to Atlantic 10 play. So the support of everybody, our students, our season ticket holders, our new fans that hopefully are starting to get the attention that we're starting to get the attention of. We have a chance to do something special. We're just scratching the surface, and we could become a really, really strong team. And I think if you could be a really strong team in the Atlantic 10, then you could win games in March. And I think that we're doing everything we can day to day to improve and put ourselves in position to be there.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. It's Coach Mckillop. You're going to stick on for one more minute as we upload, but thanks for joining us on the show. We're really excited for your team, and then also the A10, and you're also top 50 in field goal percentage. So it seems like that's kind of a common trait around Davidson. But
well, if we don't turn the ball over and make a few more free throws, we would be top 50 in overall offense, not just field goal percentage.
All right. Well, there's a challenge, Coach, in the next couple of weeks. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review where you can. And we'll be back next week on a Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.